Hey guys, welcome back. This is Confusing Bits. I'm Corey, and today we're going to talk about Accelerate by Nicole Forsgren, PhD, Jess Humble, and Jean Kim. So for those of you who just following for like my general book reviews and stuff, this is very much in the realm of software development. So if you're not a software developer or work in that space, then you can just skip this one because this is going to be incredibly nerdy for you. So with that out of the way, the too long didn't read. This is a survey. All of this data is based off of survey data. And so how much do you want to trust survey data? I'll put that anyway. That'll determine whether you should read this. Like, do you put a lot of stock in things people put in surveys? How much do you want to wait? I wouldn't rate that very highly. So for me, that's maybe skip this book, but maybe you might find it interesting or whatever. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So if you've probably seen this book, if you've been following the thought leaders in software engineering and development and stuff like that, you probably heard about this book, especially a lot of the TDD, DevOps kind of people, platform engineering people that you see, you probably heard about this book. So what is actually in this book? Well, our research collected over 23,000 survey responses from around the world. We heard from over 2,000 unique organizations, from small startups of under 5 employees to large enterprises with over 10,000 employees. We collected data from startups and cutting-edge internet companies, as well as highly regulated industries such as finance, healthcare, and government. Our data and analysis includes software developed on brand new greenfield platforms, as well as legacy code maintenance and development. The findings in this book will apply whether you're using traditional waterfall methodology, also known as gated, structured, or plan-driven, and just beginning your technology transformation, or whether you've been implementing agile and DevOps practices for years. This is true because software delivery is an exercise in continuous improvement, and our research shows that year over year, the best keep getting better, and those who fail to improve further behind. The fail to improve fall further and further behind. So that's the little blurb. So I'll present to you a question. 23,000 voluntary survey responses across such a large and diverse and extremely technically complex field as software development. Do you feel like 23,000 responses can adequately describe or represent the state of our industry? That's a question you have to answer yourself. For me, I say no, not even close. Like, all the variables in that, just the list that they from small startups of 5 employees to large enterprises with over 10,000 employees. And we're going to say how the small startups should operate, and also the big enterprises, also the highly regulated industries in finance, healthcare, and government, and also your new web dev startup. Greenfield development, also, that legacy COBOL code base, they all require the same practices, and that could be captured by 23,000 survey responses. Press X to doubt, right? So that is probably the biggest criticism that I have for this book. Is it's like any other research into human behavior. It's very hard to research human behavior, and software development practices is some of the most complicated human behavior on the planet, and you're going to try to capture it with 23,000 survey responses, voluntary, presumably. Um, yeah. What did they think they found? Software delivery performance. The first four measures of software delivery performance, they identified, as part of this research, they identified four key areas. So basically they did a bunch of statistics about things that these concepts that they had, and they had four ideas that kind of bubbled to the top, meaning they got to choose as many different hypotheses as they wanted. And then they got to do a statistical analysis. And then the ones that came up positive, statistically significant, they said, well, these are the only ones that matter. So in case you don't know, that's like the more like analysis that you do on a data set, the more likely you're going to find one is statistically significant. So they were bound to find something. You keep going, you analyze a data set enough, eventually you will find something statistically significant. But what they think they found was some key metrics. One was deploy frequency, lead time, mean time to restore, and change failure percentages are good classifiers for the software delivered performance profile. The groups we identified, high, medium, and low performers, are all significantly different across all four measures each year. Our analysis of high and medium and low performers provide evidence that there are no trade-offs between improving performance and achieving higher levels of tempo and stability. They move in tandem. So the faster you commit code doesn't increase your failure rate. That being more careful cannot improve your stability. That's what they're saying here. Software delivery performance predicts organizational performance and non-commercial performance. The software delivery performance construct is a combination of three metrics: lead time, release frequency, and mean time to restore. That's basically, you have a failure, how quickly can you restore? Change failure rate is not included in the construct, although it is highly correlated with the construct. Deploy frequency is highly correlated with continuous delivery and the comprehensive use of version control. I mean, what? Lead time is highly correlated with version control and automated testing. Mean time to recovery is highly correlated with version control and monitoring. Software delivery performance is correlated with high organizational investment in DevOps. Software delivery performance is negatively correlated with deployment pain. The more painful code deployments are, the poorer your software delivery performance. I want to be very clear. I do not disagree with the takeaways of this book. I disagree with the way they have couched this whole thing as if it has really any real scientific merit. Like, I personally believe, yes, you deploy more frequency, especially non-critical applications. Deploying more frequently means you deploy bug fixes. You fail more frequently, but you can deploy fixes for those bug failures, and over time you develop systems to protect yourself from that deployment frequency, like testing, and processes, code review, all automated testing, all that stuff. You develop all these processes to make that a reliable but fast pipeline to production. I firmly believe that's the way at least most mainline applications, like line of business applications and especially web dev, should be, get as little friction to production as possible. But does that apply for all industries? Of course not. Like, are you going to apply that practice to like SpaceX rocket control systems? Are you gonna deploy multiple times a day to a SpaceX rocket that's in flight? Are you going to do that? I think not. Right? So this is where I'm getting at, is like, you can't just paint with the whole cloth. And as much as I would like to, all of my experience is like, contracting work and line of business applications and a lot of application development in general, web dev and desktop applications and stuff like that. But there's embedded, there's like microservices, like the back end stuff, and there's databases, and there's all sorts of, there's machine learning and all sorts of types of software development out there. And am I going to say that they should just deploy like multiple times a day like we do in web dev? Like any project that I'm on, we can deploy multiple times a day. I will ensure that that always happens. So do I prescribe that to those people? Of course not. Of course not. That's, it's ridiculous. So this whole book to me, honestly, besides the nonsense, to me, I'm sorry I'm being very negative on this book, but besides all of the nonsense of the data and stuff and the analysis and how I think they're on a shaky foundation and everything, just the book itself reads like executive mumbo jumbo corporate masturbation. That's what it reads like. It's like the worst of that. And like, we achieve key metrics and blah 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 and blah blah blah. It's a bunch of freaking executive mumbo jumbo. If you are a software engineer, you don't even bother with this book. This is a waste of time. Go learn something actual for real. If you're an executive, don't fall for this nonsense. Listen to your developers. Your developers, let them listen to what they say about what makes things go slow, and let them fix those problems. And over time, you get faster and faster. You know? You can't. Anyway, every organization is different, so I can't say how everybody should operate. But anyway, I don't see much value in this book. I think it goes in the trash bin, as long as most psychology and nutrition research and stuff, it just throw it in the garbage. That's the way I see this. So anyway, I would highly recommend that you skip this book. If for whatever reason you're still watching this and you're one of my normal book review viewers, coming up next week, we're going to be talking about Indestructible by Nir Eyal. Not sure exactly how to say that, but anyway, I will see you guys next week. Sorry for being Debbie Downer, but it happens occasionally. I'll see you guys next week.